twist. And for 10 years old, that's one heck of a routine. He scored a 9.4 in the preliminary, so you know she's very good on vaulting. Nice, high Yurchenko vault. Really clean in the air, and it was very high.
Unbelievable, incredible, absolutely incredible. She had a great time out there. If those judges have any problem judging that routine, if they don't have the results out immediately, there's something wrong.
HTS and Prime Network presents the 1993 USAIGC National Gymnastics Championships from the Greenleaf Resort and Conference Center in Haines City, Florida. Historically, the USAIGC National Gymnastics Championships has attracted the top competitors from independent clubs throughout the United States. In 1984, Mary Lou Retton was the star of the meet, and most recently, it was Shannon Miller. Who will be this year's star? We hope to find out in the next couple of hours. Hi, everybody. I'm Johnny Holliday. Nice to have you with us from Haines City, Florida. We have got some outstanding gymnasts to perform for you this evening. In the past week or so here in Haines City, Florida, over 800 gymnasts have been competing all week long for national titles, representing all 50 states. In fact, more than 1,000 clubs represented here. And tonight, we're down to the final 32 gymnasts representing the final 8 teams. And I am joined by former national team member Jeff Nepper, and the team that is going to be out there trying to defend their title is the American Twisters. Can they do it again this year?
I think they've got a really good chance, but they certainly have their work cut out for them, because last night in the preliminary round, they had their top gymnast get injured in the warm-up, so they only had to go with 3 gymnasts, which really put the pressure on them, meaning each gymnast scored count, and they didn't do as well as they probably hoped to. They ended up 4th. But they have such a strong team. They went back to the gym. They brought another girl out, and it's one of their best girls, Susie Kincaid, who was actually in the meet last year. And I think tonight they are really in it for the money. It's going to be a neck-and-neck race, I think.
And one of the teams to give them a challenge for the national championship, Hills Angels from Gaithersburg, Maryland. Now, Christy Kraft, former coach of the World Championship team, can they win this event?
Most certainly, and I think the headline gymnast in this event is Dominique Dawes, an Olympic gymnast who is capable of a perfect 40 in the all-around if she hits. You know, her nickname is Dominique Dawson, and that's with good reason.
Interesting that when she competes, Jeff and Christy, almost everybody else in this building will be looking at her competing.
Yeah, absolutely. The whole gym will quiet down because they know one of the best in the world is out there.
Well, we'll have the best in the world coming up in just a moment. Nice to have you with us. We'll return with the competition right after these messages. Welcome back to Greenleaf Resort and Conference Center, Haines City, Florida. Johnny Holliday along with Christy Kraft and Jeff Nepper, the National Gymnastics Team Championship Finals tonight. Let's take you around this beautiful facility and take a look at where we're going to see the competitors tonight giving it their very all. And Jeff, let's begin with a vault.
On the vault, what you have, and here we see one coming up now, is each girl will perform 2 vaults. That vault with a handspring double twist. Each girl, again, will do 2 vaults, and then they will count the highest score on the vault. Now, on the vaulting, you're looking for a lot of flight off the horse, and tonight you'll see a lot of flipping and twisting. And the more twists they do or the more flips they do, obviously, the more difficult.
And we just saw Marissa Madal for the American Twisters, the defending champions from Pompano Beach, Florida. And also, let's go over and take a look now at the uneven parallel bars. And Christy, this is some tremendous event we'll see the young ladies competing in tonight.
Uneven bars is a very exciting event. The gymnasts have to show a variety of movements. Of course, they show the flight or the release elements that we like to see so much, but they also are required to show bar changes, close bar work, as well as large swinging skills. And most importantly, the routine should flow with no pauses or breaks. And spectators and judges alike like to see a big dismount with a stuck landing.
All right, then the balance beam, we'll be focusing on that tonight. And this is something which has always amazed most people who come to gymnastic competition, Jeff, because look at that bar. 16 feet long, 4 feet high, 4 inches wide.
That's right. It is the monster out there on the floor. I'll tell you, this is where the meat will be made or broken. Tonight, when you're on the watching the bounce beam, we're looking for 3 basic elements. They are the tumbling series, we have dance series, and then also we have what's called a mix series, where they have to combine a tumbling skill right into a dance skill. And again, this is the event where it takes total concentration. They need to be totally into what they're exactly doing. One thought ahead or one thought behind about what they missed could take them right off the beam.
And as you see, you talked about the concentration. You can see the young lady right there in front of the balance beam as she is getting set to perform in just a few minutes. Now let's go over and take a look at the floor exercises, a combination of dance and tumbling and acrobatics performed to music. Christy?
You know, floor exercise is traditionally a crowd favorite because this is where the gymnast can really express her personal style. Of course, we like to see the very exciting tumbling elements, but the gymnasts are required to show dance and expression and presentation. And this is where the gymnast shows the harmony between the athleticism and the artistic qualities.
We will take a break. We'll come back and we'll begin tonight's competition. We'll take a look at the competitors, the competition on the vault, when we come back right after these messages. Defending national champions will be Kelly Davis. She's 14 years of age from Queens, New York, born in Queens. And good look at Kelly. She's been in gymnastics for 9 years. Let's get first of all into how they score. The judges come up with these figures tonight, Christy.
Well, each of the vaults is assigned a value. So unlike the other events where the spectators assume that the gymnasts begin from 10, each vault has a value, the most difficult being a 10, but there will be gymnasts performing vaults with the value of 9.5. So the maximum they could receive on that vault, if it were perfectly executed, would be a 9.5. Now, last night, Kelly received a 9.6. So let's see what her vault's going to be.
And the thing you have to remember as far as what the judges go, Johnny, is that there's 2 judges per event. And they kind of check each other. And what they do is they take their 2 scores, make sure they're within a certain range, and then they average the scores of the 2 judges.
And here comes Kelly Davis.
Whoa.
That was a beautiful vault. That is a handspring front somersault vault, which starts with a 9.9 value. You can see she didn't make a lot of mistakes there, did she, Jeff?
No, and that's such a tough vault because you're coming down and it's a blind landing. And a lot of kids we've seen here this week have really sat down on a lot of those vaults. So she did a great job, really handled it well.
She had excellent rotation, a terrific landing. It's going to be hard to improve upon, but we'll see if she can do it. Remember that the judges take the best of the 2 vaults. It's not an average of the 2 vaults, so she has 2 chances to get her best score.
Speed and quickness and explosive power and really a certain reckless abandon.
Oh.
Well, they'll take the first one.
Definitely the first vault. That vault was terrific. It had a lot of flight and a lot of rotation, but every time you take a step in gymnastics, it's 1/10 off your score.
And there are 2 judges for each of these events. And that's Kelly Davis, who is 14 years of age. Let's take a look again at the first.
Her first vault and her best vault. Now watch as she comes off the horse. She'll rappel upward, grab the knees, do the front tuck, and then she comes out, and boom, there's the mat. Almost like a surprise sometimes. It's really tough to land because you just don't know where that mat's coming.
Well, the judges certainly liked it. She had 1/10 off on the landing and not much else.
9.75.
That's a great score for the team.
Our 4th performer from New England Gymnastics.
Now let's go to the parallel bars. Lauren LaBranche from Northeast Express, Newington, Connecticut. And she is 16 years of age.
And Lauren's the real seasoned competitor on this team. She's been in this national team competition now this is the 5th year.
She just performed a Tkachev, or a reverse hecht, one of the required release elements. Beautifully executed. So far, her form is very clean. Nice cast to the handstand. Giant swing into a double twisting dismount.
Ooh.
It's a very well done routine.
If you ask her why she likes her event, it's because it's challenging. You saw exactly why.
She handled it really well. I saw in warm-up she was having a little bit of problems, but there it was smooth as silk.
It didn't look like much of a challenge to Lauren that time. She nailed it.
And that's the key, too, in gymnastics. If you can make it look simple, and you know you're doing your job.
USGF national qualifier since 1987. 16 years of age, from Hartford, Connecticut. New England Gymnastics Express is out of Newington, Connecticut.
Oh, and a
9.85.
9.85. That is an excellent score, and that's going to really be a score to beat in this competition. You know, that doesn't leave much room for a gymnast to move in ahead of her. That's 0.15 from perfection.
Now let's go to the balance beam. That's Emily Bales, the Golden Bear Club in Berkeley, California. 9.6 she nailed last night.
You know, I was so impressed with this gymnast last night. Not only is she beautiful to watch and she looks so confident, but her routine is just full of difficulty. She's setting up now for her tumbling series. Back handspring, layout, step out, layout, step out, layout, step out, 3 in a row. She's terrific. She makes it look like it's 4 feet wide instead of 4 inches.
Chisu Holmes, Perel Boykins, and Bruce McGehee, the coaches for the Golden Bear team.
Well, Emily is just doing a fantastic job so far. She just nailed her front somersault dismount, which is one of the more difficult skills in gymnastics, a D element. There's one of the requirements that Jeff was speaking about earlier, the leap series.
And then you can see a full turn, which is also a requirement on the bounce beam, and you might see some girls drop off. Now here she gets ready for another tumbling series.
Oh, that is so unfortunate.
What happened there, Christy?
You know, it looks like she just rushed it because maybe she had her difficult skills out of the way and lost her concentration a little bit, because really that is not a difficult series for a girl like Emily.
Now, Christy, when you do something like that, you talk about concentration. You have to get it back real quick, don't you?
Right, especially for a dismount like that, a round-off double back, which is an international dismount.
That was a terrific routine. Unfortunately for Emily, she lost 0.5 for the break there on the flip-flop layout step out.
Now here we go with that first tumbling pass. 3 layouts in a row. There's 1, 2, and 3. Unbelievable.
And she was met by her teammates who were giving her words of encouragement. Certainly disappointing, to say the very least. Now to the floor exercises. And here is Alexis Brion, Gymstrata Schools in Virginia Beach. And she would love to be a coach someday. She is 10 years of age.
Well, I think she has a little time before she's a coach, and for the meantime, she is an outstanding little gymnast. At only 10 years old, she may be small, but she does some really big stuff. If you watch for her first pass last night, she mounted with a full twisting double back dismount, double back somersault, one of the most difficult skills being done in this competition.
I remember, only 10 years old.
Jim Walker and Dana Baker are the coaches for the Gymstrata team out of Virginia Beach, Virginia. And let's take a look now at 10-year-old Alexis Brion, born in Idaho.
Wow.
A double pike somersault with a full twist. Beautifully done. And
Like a pro.
She is so cute.
Just want to take her home with you.
And you can start any place on the mat in this event.
Yes, but you see those white lines around? You just can't go outside those white lines. If the gymnast goes outside the floor exercise perimeter, it's 1/10 for each time.
Listen as the music builds and really reflects the gymnast personality, as we're seeing here in the person of Alexis Brion.
Here's her second tumbling pass, a whip through to a triple twist, an extremely difficult tumbling pass. She had a little error on the landing, didn't quite complete the rotation. That'll be a small deduction.
I tell you, with tumbling passes like this that are already at an international level, by the time she's ready for the Olympics, she'll be just dynamite.
And so many young ladies have gone on from this competition to be representatives of the United States in the Olympic Games.
Absolutely, just like Dominique Dawes.
And Shannon Miller and Mary Lou Retton.
Here's Alexis setting up for a dismount, a round off back handspring, double pike, nailed. Her coaches, of course, are ecstatic. What a star. I think this child has a bright future in gymnastics.
And the Fans here tonight in Haines City, Florida, love her performance. She says she likes gymnastics because it's fun, and she made it look like fun.
Well, fun is what it's all about. And when you have fun, you're going to do a great job just like she did tonight.
An absolute adorable little gymnast.
One to watch coming up in
Representing
96.
Jim Strata Schools in Virginia Beach. Let's take a look at her score. This should be a good one.
She really only made one major error in the floor routine, and that was not completing the triple twist. But the level of difficulty, I don't think the judges will look at it too much. Oh, and I was right, a 9.85, 0.15 from perfection. What do you think, Jeff?
I'm speechless. I mean, incredible. At the age of 10 to have that kind of poise and grace and discipline and already have a control of the routine like she shows, I think it's a sign of a true champion.
Johnny Holiday, Christy Kraft, and Jeff Nepper were at the National Team Gymnastics Championships, Greenleaf Resort in Haines City, Florida. When we come back, we'll have a chance to take a look at 16-year-old Dominique Dawes after these messages. Just a few minutes ago, we saw Alexis Brion from the Gymnastics Schools, Virginia Beach, come up with a 9.85 at the floor exercises. She's been competing for only 3 years. She's standing by right now with Jeff Nepper.
Alexis, is this your first USAIGC national competition?
Yes, I think so.
But you've had many other national competitions, I understand from your coach. Can you tell me about what competitions, national competitions you've been in and how you've done?
I was in the American Classic, and I competed as a junior elite, and I won floor.
Congratulations. Now I have to ask, are you 10 years old?
Yeah,
And when did you start gymnastics?
and I was 7.
So you've only been doing it 3 years?
Yes,
Okay, and what made you want to start gymnastics?
the people on TV.
You mean like who? Do you remember who it was?
Mary Lou Renton, and I don't remember any other people.
So what do you think now that after you saw them and now you're doing gymnastics, what do you think of how it's turned out for you?
I think I like it a lot, and when I'm in the Olympics, the people on TV can watch me, and then they can start gymnastics.
Well, good luck. With that kind of determination, I think you'll make it. So we're going to see you in 96 in Atlanta?
I hope so.
Well, Jeff and Christy with a 9.85, well in her way, isn't she?
She absolutely is. And with determination like that, there's nothing going to stop her.
Now let's go back to the vault for 16-year-old. Remember the 1992 U.S. Olympic team, Dominique Dawes. Her coach, Kelly Hill, right there speaking to her. They're from Gaithersburg, Maryland, and as Christy told you at the top of the show, with a gymnast like Dominique Dawes and the team, certainly very much in this race to perhaps win this national championship.
Well, this is on the vault. That's one of Dominique's best events. She does a round-off entry, layout with a full twist, your Chinko full.
Whoa.
Duck landing. You know, she could score a 10 on this event. That was.
It could be a 10.
It
looked
Dawson.
stuck.
What can you say?
Awesome, Dawson.
Take a look at it once again.
Now watch, the thing is she goes in backwards to the horse. It's totally blind. And then she pushes off somersault and a full twist.
Now, Jeff, that takes hours and hours of practice.
Absolutely. This vault is they train for probably a full year before they ever even compete it because it's such a dangerous vault.
It doesn't look dangerous when Dominique does it. Let's look with Dominique on her second vault.
Almost identical. Boy.
I tell you, she has it down pat. I don't know which one was better, but we're going to wait for the score, and we might see a 10. But I definitely.
Did you see any deductions on that vault? It was outstanding. I think it could be a 10.
I agree. No form break, plenty of distance from the horse.
It is a 10.
And it is a perfect score.
And when is the last time, Jeff, you or Christy saw a 10 in the vault?
The 10, probably the 84 Olympics and Mary Lou Renton. She needed the 10 in the vault to win the gold medal, and she did.
Look how nonchalant Dominique. Just another day on the vault. That's all. No big deal. Just undo those wrist things and let's go on with it.
But she has to also at the same time keep her composure because she still has 3 more events. But
is there a certain, as we look at Keri Monahan for the Atlantic Coast team, Keri from Camden, New Jersey, and the Atlantic Coast team operates out of Sewell, New Jersey. Her favorite gymnast in this entire competition you just saw, Dominique Dawes, and that's really a tremendous credit to another team member of another team.
Absolutely. And she's got quite a lot of talent herself. Let's watch her on bars.
Keri begins a routine with one of the most difficult releases on the uneven bars, a clear hip into a reverse hex, also known as a Hindorf, followed immediately by a Ginger overshoot. That was beautifully done. She's no slouch on this event. She's finishing up, preparing for a dismount, 2 giant swings into a double back dismount.
Wow.
Small hop on the landing. No, I think she's been watching her idol do gymnastics because you can see some of the same spark and the same style there. It was a very well executed routine for Keri.
Keri is 17 years of age. And in slow motion, take a look at it once again.
Now watch, she's going to change her direction. She's going to start circling the bar backwards, and then she's going to open up and do a reverse hex right there over the bar. It's one of the most difficult skills being done in gymnastics on bars.
And a very, very happy Keri Monahan.
You know, it's really fun for a lot of, this meet is great fun for the girls because this is the only chance they have to do a team competition. And there's her score at 9.825.
Not too far from perfection. 1/10 for that little hop on the landing, who knows?
Could have been close to a 10.
The landing is so very important to us.
Yeah, absolutely. You can get deducted if you take a step, it's a 10th. If it's 2 steps, you have 2 tenths off.
Now to the balance beam. That's Kimberly Small for the K-Rons out of Burke, Virginia.
Kimberly mounts with a very difficult element, a round-off layout step out right onto the balance beam. She had a small break, but she's hanging in there, aerial cartwheel, setting up for another skill, a standing layout step out.
Marlon Stanovich and, Tammy Biggs are the coaches of the K-Ron Gym Center. K-Ron Gym Center. Wow.
And this kid has done 5 elements in the first 2 passes, all of which are very, very difficult.
And she doesn't look like she's going to stop yet.
Kim is only 12 years of age. She was born in Seoul, South Korea, now living in Fairfax, Virginia. We asked her favorite event and why. She said none, because they all feel the same.
There's that full turn. That's a hard one for a lot of gymnasts, and it is a requirement. And she lost a 10th on that bobble there.
USGF Level 9 regional team member for the Nationals, and USGF Virginia Level 9 state champion in the 12 to 14 age bracket.
Kim is working really well. She has a few breaks, but she has lots of difficulty. Oh, 2 flip-flops into a double twisting layout dismount. She was a little bit low on the landing, but, you know, that was a routine full of difficulty. And most importantly, she stayed on.
Now here's the tumbling series, Christy.
Okay, she's doing a back handspring into a layout step out into another back handspring.
Now what in that series, I've always found it amazing. If in the middle of that tumbling series they're off a little bit, what can they do to keep it on the beam? Do they have to stop the series, or? You
know, when you're working the balance beam, it's not a situation that you can say, okay, I'm a little crooked, so I'm not going to go. She has to be sure, and that's why gymnasts practice so many hours every single day to make sure at that critical moment that they're able to do the skills.
How many beam routines do you think she would do in one workout?
Oh, I would guess somewhere between 5 and 15.
And you're talking about some hours, aren't you?
6 days a week and year-round. We're not a sport like basketball or baseball that has a season. Gymnasts train year-round, year after year.
And her score's a 9.475, probably due to the bobble in the beginning and 1 in the middle. But a good score, very respectable.
I think they'll take it. That's a nice score on the balance beam.
So she did stay on.
Is next up in the floor exercises. And Sharon is representing the All-American team from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. She's from Salem, South Dakota.
And this is the first year their team has been in the National Team Championships. Here comes her first tumbling pass. A nice triple full. She ended a little shy, which will be a 10th deduction. That's a lot of twisting to do at one time.
What are you looking for in this now? You're looking for the form, the perfect landing?
Perfect landing, a lot of dance elements, staying on the toes during the dance.
How about projection, Jeff, as the gymnast projects to the audience and the judging?
Absolutely. The judges are always looking for the head up, the chest up, a smile on the face. It always helps the score.
And the floor exercise is really, it's a combination of the tremendous tumbling skills along with being able to have wonderful moves in your dance movement.
Absolutely. It's a switch of mental set. For the tumbling, you have to go all out and be really aggressive, and then you have to do a transition into the dance elements where you have poise and discipline and refinement.
Favorite gymnast is Shannon Miller, and Sarah's been working in gymnastics now for 8 years.
A double full dismount, Christy.
You know, it was a nice, clean routine. I don't think that it has the level of difficulty that we'll see maybe from a Dominique Dawes, but it was a very well executed routine with the triple twist in the first pass. She begins from a 10-0, and I would expect a good score.
Sarah Nitz, the All-American Gymnastics Academy in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Let's look early when she had just a little bit of a problem here.
Right, and this is the triple full. Now, she's supposed to complete the twist totally all the way around, and you can see she just finished about 2 3/4 and didn't quite get it all the way around. So there'll be a 10th deduction for that. So now the gymnasts are marching to their next event while we wait for her score on floor.
We have seen one perfect 10 so far. That's been recorded by Dominique Dawes from Hills Angels in Gaithersburg, Maryland. 9.65 for Sarah Nitz. We'll be back at Haines City, Florida in just a moment. Stay with us. More gymnastic competition on the way. So after one rotation here at the National Team Championships, the American Twisters have the lead.
That's amazing, and it's going to be tight, neck and neck, I think. It's already starting out that way between Hills and American, and also the third place.
And 5, 6, 7, and 8, as you see, Jim Strata, Golden Bear, Kron, and the All-American team.
I think one thing to remember, you saw New England was right in there, only 2/10 out of the lead, and they were former national team champions 3 years ago.
You know, Jeff, Hills Angels tallied a 10 and a 9.9, and the gymnast who came up with a 9.9 is this girl, Marianne Esposito. She's also excellent on bars. Yesterday she had a little problem with her dismount. She's doing a terrific job. Here's her dismount. Oh no, and that's a tough break for them. They're going to have to count that score of a 9.35 for Marianne Esposito.
That's a shame. That's such a tough dismount. You don't see that dismount done at all. It's very rare.
It's one of the most difficult dismounts, and you have to remember going into that event, she was just 1/10 of a point behind her teammate Dominique Dawes, and that pretty much put her out of the competition, barring an error by Dominique.
Marianne from Brooklyn, New York, is now working with the Hills Angels Club in Gaithersburg, Maryland. Now we move along to Kim DeHaan from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. She's 18 years of age. And Kim with the All-Americans from Sioux Falls on the vault.
Another handspring front. She stuck it, meaning once she hit the mat, she didn't move, but it was a low landing, a deep knee bend, which they'll probably deduct for.
Yeah, that was a deep squat, and if you look back and remember the other handspring fronts that we saw, that she did have some height, she had the rotation, but she wasn't flipping fast enough to land upright.
Right, so she was just a little shy in her rotation, consequently the deep knee bend. So I think,
Go ahead, Jeff.
I was going to say, I think probably what her coach told her was to try to get her heels up faster on the board, which would give her more rotation into the front somersault.
Yeah, now her second vault. Kim also has a full ride scholarship at the University of Nebraska.
That's unfortunate. You know, her run was actually pretty good that time. She had a lot of speed going into the horse, but she tucked early on the horse, which caused her a little bit of that very valuable rotation. If you look back at the replay, you can see she has an excellent run.
Where did she go wrong here now, Christy? What happened?
Now, if you look, she hits the board well. She's going onto the horse. Now, you'll see her knees are bent before she actually leaves the horse. She should leave the horse in a straight position or a handspring before she executes the front somersault.
Because she's cheating herself of height from the horse by bending her knees early.
And a 9.52 for Kim Dahan from the All-Americans. Now the young lady that's so far posted the only perfect 10 tonight in the competition, Dominique Dawes, again from Hills Angels. Hills Angels.
And remember, this event is where she just placed second in the world 2 months ago.
An unbelievably high reverse hecht, uprise to the handstand. Watch this, giant 1.5 twist, immediate bail to handstand on the low bar. That's an extremely difficult sequence of skills. Setting up for a dismount now, full twisting giant, into a full twisting double back. Beautiful routine, full of difficulty, just a step on the landing, but I think a routine that she can be very proud of.
Absolutely.
Christy, as a former coach, very few, if any, flaws in her performance.
Really, it was a tough routine. She had a lot of difficulty in it. It was well done. Just the step on the dismount.
And watch this reverse hecht. This is one of the highest. Look at the height right there. One of the highest you'll probably see in the whole competition and the world.
See, we can call her Air Dawes after watching that bar routine.
Okay.
And there'll be a whole line of leotards coming out.
And a 9.9, the only deduction that the judges saw was that step on the landing.
Right. If she wouldn't have stepped, there would have been another 10, I think.
Now to Keri Monahan from the Atlantic Coast team on the balance beam.
Okay, here's Keri's series. A back handspring, layout, step out, step out. She had a minor break there, but she kept moving. You know, Keri's a veteran for this team, and I think the coach's confidence in her shows by the lineup. She's last up on every event for her team.
Kenny Anderson's the coach of the Atlantic Coast team, and Keri's 17 years of age.
Boy, that's a good save, huh? She almost missed her hand on that flip-flop, but she held rock solid on the line.
How much will they deduct for that, if anything?
They might deduct a 10th, I would think, because there was just a little wobble. But she could have fallen off, and she saved it. So she saved herself 4 10s.
There she just performed the full turn, one of the requirements.
She did that one nice.
And now she's setting up for her dismount. A round off, double back somersault, very high, nicely performed, a step on the landing. That'll be 1/10 off her total, but I think a routine that she can be really happy with.
It appears she is, as well as her teammates. Let's look again, watch her save this.
Now this is where you're going to see the experience of a seasoned gymnast. Any other gymnast would have dropped off when this hand, watch this one hand, just slips off a little early.
That's 12 years experience.
Is that how long she's been doing gymnastics? And she's also just placed second in the senior division for the United States in the all-around competition.
1988 Junior B national team member and a 1993 Maryland Classic 5th AA.
And her score, a 9.625. That's an excellent score for the balance beam.
That is, absolutely.
And coming off the bars, I think that we can expect to see Keri high in the all-around if she keeps this level up.
Now let's move to the floor exercises. Representing K-Ron is Liz Reed. She's 15 years of age. And really, she likes all events that she participates in. And interesting beginning, huh?
How she's going to untangle herself from
a little
that.
yoga approach.
Well, you watch this gymnast, she actually looks like a rubber band. She's extremely flexible, really beautiful to watch, and she has some unusual tumbling and dance elements.
She does, if I remember correctly, a lot of front tumbling.
Yeah, and the judges like to see that. You know, they want to see something that's a little bit different. Here's her first pass. Front handspring, front flip-flop, layout, front full punch front. Very unusual and very difficult.
Everybody else is tumbling backwards. She says, I'm going to tumble forwards. And it shows uniqueness.
Look at the smoothness and the grace with which she performed.
The toes are really pointed to the extreme.
Watch this second tumbling pass. Here she'll show, hey, I can tumble backwards too. Round off back handspring, 2.5 twist. Wow. Very well done. That's a D element. D is the highest level of difficulty in gymnastics. And I love her choreography. Her dance is so expressive, so well done.
And with the music, their dance almost fits the mood of the music.
setting up for a last pass. Front handspring, front flip-flop, layout front with a 1.5 twist. That was a beautiful routine. I think we can look for a big score here.
Coach Marlon Stanovich has got to be pleased. And the fans here in Haines City, Florida, enjoying what they see. The person of Liz Reed.
And there are coaches. That's Marlon to the right. And he's really done a terrific job with these girls. He was a former gymnast himself.
As you were, and as you were.
In a past life.
But don't you sit here as we look back again at Liz Reed's performance in the floor exercises.
That's her first pass, front with a full twist into immediate punch front. And the height on both front somersaults was terrific.
9.75.
9.75. That's an excellent score, and I think one that will really help boost her team in the standings.
Right, because they're in 7th after the first event, so that'll be a strong showing in the floor.
And thank God for that replay before he talked about our past lives, Jeff.
We're at the National Team Gymnastic Championships. We may have some videotape of you as a performer, Christy Kraft. We know we got something good. We're going to slip that in before this thing is over. Greenleaf Resort will return in a moment. Welcome back, everybody. Johnny Holliday along with Christy Kraft and Jeff Nepper. We're in Haines City, Florida for the National Team Championships Gymnastic Competition. The executive director of the USAIGC is Ed Nepper, a gentleman who has got to be so proud of the tremendous leaps and bounds that he has seen in gymnastics since he first began this competition some years ago. And we had a chance to speak with Ed just moments ago about the progress made. Ed, the USAIGC has come a long way since way back some 17 years ago for your organization.
That's right. 17 years ago, we started with 72 children in the competition. This year, 17 years later, we now have 900 in the competition. Gymnastics has grown like that, too. In 1972, we had like 36,000 gymnasts. Olga Corbett hit, and it blew up no time at all to 1.5 million in recreational classes and about 300,000 in competitive gymnastics. So it has really grown.
And don't you find that most every young girl says, I want to be like a Shannon Miller, a Dominique Dawes is in this competition?
Most everyone, especially when we get the interviews back from the children. Yeah. They always want to be like Dominique Dawes, and they want to be like Shannon Miller, and a lot of them like to be like Mary Lou Retton, who is still around, Nadia Comaneci. It's unbelievable the power that Nadia Comaneci's name has and Mary Lou Retton's name. A lot of children know her.
The young ladies, the athletes that we are seeing in action tonight, they're all wonderfully talented, but there's more than just that to make up a gymnast.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It takes a lot more than talent. It takes the dedication of the family behind the child. It takes the dedication of the child. It also takes a tremendous attitude. And they have to put together so many different slots of time, and everything is critical. They have to have the proper time to eat, and a proper way to eat, I should say, and they have to have the proper time to study, and then they have to have 4 or 5, 6, 7 hours a day to work out. Boy, that's putting a lot together, let me tell you.
Ed, is there an age, a perfect age that one, if a parent watching this show tonight would say, I want my child to be a gymnast? There's really no too early age to start one, is there?
No, most of us start our children in recreational classes at 18 months, and they're usually parent and taught classes. And then at the age of 3, they break off into classes by themselves. But our Junior Elite Development Program actually has children on the national team who are 6 years old. We select children, the 1% of the children, I should say, who are gymnasts in the United States are selected to that JDP program. But they're super, super children. They start at 6, and you'll see them at 16 probably in the Olympics or international teams.
Now, we've been in Haines City, Florida here all week long, and next year you go back to North Carolina.
Yeah, we're back in Greensboro. Greensboro built a brand new arena for us, and we'll be back there next June 5 through the 11th of 94. And I think that's going to be a tremendous time for the children to return back to where they have been before in a new arena. The community supports us. They're looking forward to it. I think it's going to be an excellent, excellent experience.
And you should be extremely proud of the organization, what they've done, and where they're going in the future.
Well, thank you very much. In the future, I know gymnastics is going to climb well beyond where it is today. I was totally amazed coming in here this year at the progress that these children have made in just 1 year from Las Vegas last year. We were looking at All-American awards last year of, say, the top 8 children. This year, when I was reading off the All-American awards in each of the rounds, we had 16 to 18 All-Americans. That means they scored better than a 36 in the all-around out of a possible 40. Our high scores were in the 38s. And this, I think, is just a tremendous boom as far as scores are concerned. It doesn't have anything to do with judging. It does have a little bit to do perhaps with the technical quality of the equipment, but it's also the training systems that the children are involved in.
Ed Knepper, the executive director of the USAIGC, and no one's prouder of his son than your dad. You started, Jeff, at age 4, and your dad was teaching you?
Right. He was a phys ed teacher at a junior high school, and he started a gymnastics program there, and that's how I got involved. I'd go with him into the gym and started flipping around and jumping around when I was 4 and fell in love with it, and did it till I was 23. I went to college and performed.
Well, Arizona State, certainly known as a baseball factory, producing Sal Bando and Reggie Jackson, but also Jeff Knepper, the captain of the 1983 Sun Devil Gymnastics team.
Thanks, John.
When I got a second, we want to congratulate you and your dad and his wife, Pat, your mom, Pat Knepper. They'll have their 40th anniversary coming up in a few weeks.
That's absolutely right.
And our congratulations.
I almost forgot.
You better not forget. The gifts
No, I
in the
never
mail.
would. I never would.
And if you're in the Wilmington area, of course, Pat Knepper runs the Olympic Club. Let's go to the vault again, and here is Keri McFarland.
All right.
What a vault, a handspring front somersault. Now, we saw Katie's teammate earlier, Alexis Brion, and she's so little and so adorable. We just fell in love with her, and be prepared to be wowed by this child. Keri McFarland can barely see over the vaulting horse, but man, can she jump. Look at that front handspring, front somersault, and a good stuck landing.
And her coach was happy about it, too.
Katie's only 10 years of age. She's only been in gymnastics 3 years. Dina Baker and Jim Walker, the coaches, that they can be this advanced, Jeff.
They're doing an incredible job down there. I believe they're following a junior league training program, but obviously it's doing the trick. Here she goes again.
It's a credit to Katie and to her coaches. Here's her second vault. Handsprings front. Oh, too bad.
Yeah, you know, she's not very happy. You can see that.
No, but look at that face.
Oh, boy, it just hurts her inside. She really wanted to do a great job, and it just wasn't there. But she did a great first vault. I think she's going to get a nice score.
Yeah, and she will have a nice score. You look at her. Here's her second vault. She hits the board, handspring, and you can see she just didn't have enough push to get around and on top.
She looks like she almost came kind of crunched into the horse. Her arms were a little bent, so she couldn't react quick.
But Christy, as good coaches do, they quickly go up to the athlete and hug them and give them a nice word of encouragement, because it's not over. They have more events coming up.
And not only more events, but you can look at a gymnast like Keri McFarland and see that she has a very bright future in gymnastics.
And she got a 9.65 on that first vault.
This is not her last meet. Yeah, that's a nice consolation as well.
Right.
Defending national champion, American Twisters, Giselle Bonaforte, 13 years of age, in Boca Raton, Florida.
And that was a beautiful opening sequence with a back stalder blind into a front stalder pirouette. Here's her giant to a counter swing handstand, another stalder, and that's a skill that we used to see a lot of and not too many gymnasts do anymore. It's a beautiful skill and a double twisting.
Beautiful routine.
You know, she has an excellent line, nice long lean body on the bars. She's a wonderful gymnast.
Tim and Tony Arand are the coaches of the American Twisters, defending national champions from Pompano Beach, Florida.
And I was watching them earlier. They had some terrific bar sets.
Let's look at Katie's ending now to finish.
Okay, here Giselle does her long kip, cast a handstand, giant swing, into a double twisting flyaway with a beautiful landing, and that is a really difficult skill to stick.
I apologize. I said Katie. I meant to say Giselle. Thanks.
Oh, Katie's still on your mind after that vault.
Sure
I'm so sorry for her.
That's Giselle
Bonaforte.
Likes learning new tricks when she's competing.
Here comes her score.
A 9.85.
Wow.
That is a terrific score. You know, I think you may be right, Jeff. The Twisters are definitely going to give Hills Angels a run for their money in this competition.
Absolutely, because after that first event, they're only 1/10 and 25/100ths ahead.
Lauren LeBranch standing by on the balance beam. Her favorite is the beam because she said it's such a challenge.
She starts off with a press to handstand and a planche. She doesn't look too nervous up there, does she, Jeff?
No, she looks nice and quiet and calm and has a lot of confidence. It's a real mental game, the bounce beam. It's much like pommel horse for the guys.
Is this the toughest of all the events, do you think, Jeff? The beam?
Considering I never performed on it, I would have to equate it though with men's, and I know pommel horse for me was the toughest, but once you mastered it, it was a lot of joy, but it took the longest to master out of all the events, and I think beam's probably the same way as far as the toughest mental.
Well, being a coach of women gymnasts, sometimes I get irritated at my gymnasts, and so I'm like, oh, just go for it, and I jump up there, and I'm like, oh, it's so skinny. It's just 4 inches wide, and they're doing
What, do the kids ever say, hey, coach, would you hop up there and show us what you can do?
No, actually, and don't give them any ideas, Johnny.
If you're in Tulsa, Oklahoma, let me give that address.
Okay, Lauren is moving extremely well. She already has her tumbling series out of the way, the back handspring layout, step out, and here she's setting up for a dismount. Round off, back handspring into a double back.
Wow.
That was an extremely difficult dismount, more difficult than the round off double back.
Absolutely. That was a great routine. I think you could see at the end there, she had a little facial expression to her coach because from the end here, we can tell that she came off the beam really crooked.
Yeah, she was not straight. Here she does a round off in her back handspring. She finishes
way
just
off to the side. Look at that.
Yeah.
But what a champ, just to stay with it and save it like that.
Right. She had to really fight for that one.
Lauren from the
Look, and there she's talking about it now.
Yeah.
She can't believe.
She's doing a replay herself.
She might like to come use our monitor and see how she did.
It might scare her if she saw it from here.
Waiting for the scores for Lauren. I think all of these young ladies ranging in age from 10 to 17 and 18 are really to be complimented because of the tremendous pressure they go through to get to this stage to compete for a national championship.
It is. It's like,
and these teams.
I don't know about that score. Doesn't it seem a little low to you?
9.4. You know, I would have expected the score to be a little higher. Maybe they were a little harsh on the dismount, on the directional error.
That could have been. Also, she had one bobble, but that might have been a 2/10 at the most. But that's what New England will take, and we'll see how they stand after this event.
Now let's take a look at Emily Bales, the Golden Bear Club in Berkeley, California. The floor exercises.
Okay, Emily tried to do a full twisting double back for her first pass. Unfortunately, she just didn't get her feet in under her well enough to take off up and make the rotation in the full and back out. But that's her first pass. She has 2 left to go, so she's just going on. We'll see what she can pull out on the second pass.
Nice clean double full. Maybe it was supposed to be a triple, but after the opening pass in the fall, she might have decided to only go a double. Now you notice she was just down on the floor doing some skills. That's actually a requirement that you have to show a change in the dance elements, taking it down onto the floor.
Okay, here Emily's setting up for her last tumbling pass. Round off back handspring, double back somersault. On that pass, ironically, she had a little too much rotation. Okay, you know, I think you have to give it to Emily and give her some admiration because she really could have switched those passes and done the double full and played it safe as a last pass. Instead, she chose to go for the double back in the last pass. I think she'll be rewarded.
Absolutely, and she redeemed herself too, maybe.
Christy, how much time do they have when they go through the floor exercises?
The minimum the routines can be is 1 minute and 10 seconds. The maximum is 1 minute and 30 seconds.
And there was that that first pass, you saw the full in, and she was just shy in the rotation. On the second flip, she was trying to get her knees in, and she couldn't quite get them in tight enough to get enough rotation. Now here comes the last pass where she had to redeem herself, and she probably overcompensated, and as you'll see, she goes up, pulls the knees in tight, and she just over-rotates and steps backwards a little bit. And again, trying to overcompensate for the short rotation on the first pass.
9.27.
Actually, that's a decent score. Remember that she lost a half a point due to that miss in the first element. So could have been a 9.775. I'm sure they would have preferred it, but a 9.275 is a respectable score.
Still to come, an opportunity to watch Annie Fagan. Emily Bales will be back again, and Aaron Shanley coming up as the 1993 National Team Gymnastics Championships continues from Haines City, Florida. But first, these messages.
One step on a dismount away from who's first and who's second. And then third is Atlantic Coast, and they're a full point out, but they can still make up.
Then comes New England Express, Jim Strata, Golden Bear, K-Ron, and the All-American. That's after the second rotation. Now let's go to the vault again, and here is Annie Fagan. Annie's just 11 years of age. From Oakland, California.
11 years old. You know, these kids really in gymnastics, if they hope to reach the international level, by the time they're 11 or 12, they need to be competing on the national scene. They need to be doing the skills of an international competition. And it's really a lot to ask for an 11-year-old, you'd think. But these kids are tough and ready to handle it. Here she goes.
Okay.
Annie's vault was a handspring front somersault that starts from a 9.9. So if it were perfectly executed, it would be a 9.9. She had a pretty good landing, a little directional error. Did you see how she didn't step forward, she didn't step back, she stepped sideways, and that'll be a little deduction. It's not quite as explosive as some of the other vaults we've seen, but for an 11-year-old who's just about as tall as a horse, I think a good start.
Absolutely. A nice landing on that. That is, again, a difficult vault to land.
Jeff, you talked about the age, they have to progress and so forth. How much of an effect on the gymnast does the audience, the fans that come to see them have on them?
You know, it does have an effect, but it's probably subconscious, because you would be amazed when you compete, you naturally tune everything else out. It really is a phenomenon because you're so intense. I remember a number of times not knowing anything that went on around me. And it's just that's how focused you are when you compete. But subconsciously, you're hearing the crowd. So I'm sure it does affect you.
Once again, from the same team, Emily Bales from Golden Bears in Berkeley, California, 9.55 for Annie Fagan.
That's a terrific improvement over yesterday, where her score was an 8.75. She had a fall in the vault yesterday, so regardless of how the team turns out, I think Annie Fagan should be very satisfied with her performance in this event. Here we have Emily setting up for her vault.
Emily is 16. Oh.
Now,
I thought she was far.
You see, Emily performed a round-off entry vault, also known as a Yurchenko. It's named after the Soviet gymnast who first performed that, Natalia Yurchenko. And the gymnast does a round-off onto the board and goes onto the horse backwards, blind. Here we see a replay. And I don't think she really got a good...
She didn't. She came in a little high.
She was high on. She wasn't even able to get a push off the horse.
Did she start too early, Christy? Did she start?
I think she was a little bit slow doing the back handspring in, so she was high on, and she basically did a double back somersault over the horse.
Boy, you can see the emotion.
Yeah, she's fighting back the tears. I think that short landing kind of jams the ankles, and it does hurt a little bit.
Well, if that doesn't hurt, not touching your hands on the horse certainly doesn't make you feel any confidence.
Much better.
That was
Much better, yeah.
Still a little bit high on. You don't see the rise on her vault on the second flight that you saw, like in a Dominique Dawes, for instance, where she came in low and was able to push off prior to vertical and land standing up.
Let's look at it one more time. Emily Bales.
This is Emily's second vault. She does a round off onto the board, and you see she gets in, but she's leaving the horse after the vertical, which is a little bit slower, a little later than Dominique Dawes, so she wasn't able to stand upright. But
oh boy, her ankles are hurting her. Look at her. She's
after that first vault, that's really an excellent effort to come back and be able to do that.
Absolutely, and you have to remember, just before this, she did full exercise where she landed short on her first pass, the full in, so I'm sure she started to hurt the ankles there. It's tough.
That vault begins with a 9.7 value, so if the vault were performed perfectly, the Yurchenko in a layout position is only worth a 9.7. So even though it looked like she did a good job on the vault, you'll see that reflected in her score that she didn't start from a full 10.
Now to Jim Walker and Dana Baker's club, Jim Stratas. And let's take a look now at Erin Shanley.
She does a nice job on bars. She has a nice release move coming up where she'll do a ginger. There it is. And she did real well. Just a little form deduction, not much.
Now, Jeff, she's got some experience. 12 years. She's only 17.
Started when she was 5.
What age did you start, Christy, when you were...
You're never going to let me live this down, are you? I told you I was a gymnast in my past life. Let's go back to Erin. Okay, Erin did an excellent job on the bar. She had a little separation in the ginger, and her dismount was not as difficult as what some of the other gymnasts perform. Here's her ginger. Watch for the legs when she catches the bar. Do you see her legs separate sideways? That'll be 2/10 off her score.
But yesterday, she did pretty well on the bar. She had a 9.475. So I think tonight will probably be really close to the same thing.
Erin Shanley from Virginia Beach, born in Key West, Florida. Loves the competition. And she's 17 years of age, and her favorite food, her grandfather's spaghetti and meatball.
You gotta love it. After competition, she goes in for a good spaghetti and meatball meal with Granddad. See, so they can eat normal foods once in a while, but they do, these kids, that's one thing.
Watch that weight,
interesting.
Huh?
They do kind of have to watch the weight and eat proper foods.
9.675 on the bars. That's an excellent score. In fact, that's an improvement over yesterday, so she should be very happy. When you talk about when you talk about what these gymnasts eat, I think it's important. People see gymnasts all the time, and they're very small, and you need to know that these are naturally small people, and they exercise a lot. We're talking about 6 hours a day. And when you talk about a gymnast diet, you're not talking about a starvation diet. You're talking about children who really need to eat, but they need to eat healthy foods all the time. And I think it's an excellent model for just any young person in athletics to follow a good diet.
This is Marissa Medall, 11 years of age, from Pompano Beach, the American Twisters,
who are ahead just by 0.025, and she's been rock solid so far. It's been a real dynamite performance.
Well, Marissa's had an excellent year. She was the level 9 UTF. Oh no!
I spoke too soon.
Yeah, that's
a shame.
the jinx.
But now she'll get right back up on that beam.
She's the level 9 national champion in the all-around. So she's a very well-rounded athlete. It's unfortunate that she had that break in her tumbling series, but you see how she jumped right back up.
Did you notice the expression, though? She never changed expression, just got right back up on that beam.
Right.
Obviously, she's a tough kid.
Yeah.
The thing about gymnastics is these children practice these routines numerous times, hundreds of times, so that's probably happened to her before. Here's her dismount, a round off, double twist.
Nice finish.
So good job.
Yeah, that fall could cost them. We'll see in the standings coming up, but it was a terrific job.
Let's go back and see what happened.
Here she does her one-arm back handspring, layout, step out. Oh, that
was her first tumbling series.
Perfect.
Right. Let's see, maybe. And here's the fall coming up. And watch, she just misses. She was off on the first foot. You can see the hips drop off the beam a little bit, and then she tried to save it with getting the second foot on, but I think it was pretty much over when that first foot hit. What do you think, Christy?
Yeah, she was going crooked, and you could see she was fighting, but there's not much room for error when you're working the balance beam. I was very impressed with how her coaches, Tim and Tony Rand, handled her after her performance on the beam. They just gave her a hug and told her to shake it off, and she still has one event left, and she's very important to her team. So I think that attitude's going to help her. Just 11 years old, she has some time.
Yeah. Lauren LeBranc.
And this is what this meet is so good for, to be at the national championships and experience that and get that under your belt to learn from.
Lauren is 16 from the New England Gymnastics Express.
Here's Lauren's first tumbling pass, a front through to a double back somersault.
You know, what's nice about Lauren is that everything she does is so smooth, so clean. You can really tell her years of experience are coming out. You almost have a certain confidence when you watch her that she's going to do a really nice job. Double pike.
Double pike. So far, this routine is full of difficulty. 2 double backs.
And the judges look for that, don't they? The difficulty?
Yes, and that was an excellent pirouette on one foot. Now, the value in gymnastics on floor exercise, sometimes the dance elements are just as valuable as the tumbling elements. And the judges are looking for an athlete who can perform both.
Now, she's coming up to her last pass, and last night she had a little bit of a problem with this, so let's see what she does. It's a handspring front with 1.5 twist, and she landed short on it last night.
You like her personality, Christy, that she's projecting?
Yeah, I like her. She's a very serious athlete, but I like her presentation. It's nice and clean. She changed her last tumbling pass to a double twist, nice and clean. I think it was a lovely routine. She could maybe give a little bit more, but she probably feels the pressure of hitting.
Absolutely. And I think it was a smart move to do because it's a nice dismount to finish with. The degree of difficulties there, and she should get a good score.
Okay, we're going to have a look at her double pike here. This was her second pass, so remember, most athletes would be a little tired here. Nice takeoff, double pike, and lands perfectly chest up. Very well done.
Young lady's been performing in gymnastic competition. She's been a gymnast since she was 13. Or since she was 3 years of age, 13 years, so she's 16 now.
And a 9.775, great score for the team.
That's an excellent score, and especially coming off an error last night. I think Lauren and her coaches can be really proud.
So far, this national gymnastics team competition neck and neck between the defending champions and the challengers, Hills Angels. American Twisters have a slim lead. We'll come back with more in just a moment. Welcome back, everybody, to Haines City, Florida. Johnny Holliday along with Christy Kraft and Jeff Nepper. If there is one gymnast in this building tonight that all the fans have come to see, and those of you watching around the country, it's that young lady right there. 16 years of age. We just saw Dominique Dawes from Silver Spring, Maryland. She participates and competes for the Hills Gymnastics team in Gaithersburg, Maryland. Remember the 1992 U.S. Olympic team, and Jeff had a chance to visit with Dominique a moment or so ago.
Dominique, here you are at the National Team Championships again. It's been 2 years since we've seen you, and 2 years ago your team won. So what do you think the chances are tonight for your team?
Right now, our main goal for our team is to do the best we can and hopefully come in number 1.
And also, recently, 2 months ago, you did really well at the World Championships, 4th in the all-around, 2nd on bars and beam. Can you just tell us maybe a little bit about the experience?
It was a really great experience for me, and I tried working really hard, and I'm really happy that it paid off.
And so, what are your thoughts towards 96 in Atlanta?
I have no thoughts toward that right now. I'm just hoping for a college scholarship at this point.
Oh, that's a great attitude. Well, we wish you the best of luck. And I got one more question to ask you. When did you start gymnastics, and why did you start it?
I started when I was 6 years old, and I started because my parents put me in it, because I was pretty jumpy around the house.
Did you like jump around the bed and the living room furniture, and Mom got...
Yeah, around the living room furniture, so my parents put me into gymnastics.
And real quick, how many hours a day do you work out, just to give the folks at home an idea what it's like?
Around 5 to 6 hours a day.
And is it 5 days a week, or?
6 days a week.
6 days a week. Okay, well, we look forward to seeing you tonight, and good luck.
Okay, thank you.
The only perfect 10 so far tonight in the competition, registered by Dominique Dawes. That was in the vault earlier. How much better, Jeff, can she get? Christy? I mean, she's only
Well,
16.
fortunately, you know, I think she has just unlimited ability. And you look at her, and she still has the body of a young girl. At 16, there's no physical limit to her doing gymnastics. I think it's just up to her desire, and there's been no lag in her desire. She wanted to be in this meet. She was very excited to be in this competition for her team. And so I think that we can continue to expect great things from Dominique Dawes.
You know, while we have a moment, during the Olympic Games last year in Barcelona, there was a lot of negative criticism leveled at the gymnastic program. The fact that, you know, they work too hard, they're undernourished, blah, 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 on, and which got somewhat of a reaction around the country, a lot of negative comments, and I think a lot of it was undue.
Absolutely. And I would have to agree, and especially after that interview with Dominique, you know, I said to her, what are your thoughts toward 96? And her response was, right now I have no thoughts. I just hope for a college scholarship. And I think that's really a healthy attitude. Just take it day by day and do the best you can and get what you can from the sport. And more importantly, just love the sport for what it is.
Well, I think gymnastics, you look at these kids and they look like a bunch of healthy, happy kids to me. And there are worse things that you can have your child doing other than setting goals, staying out of trouble, working at the gym, and experiencing hard work. I mean, these kids work harder as gymnasts than most adults will ever work in their lives. And I think gymnastics is a very positive thing. It's just the parents need to make sure that they have their kids in a good program, and that the parents' goals are realistic. You can find some negative aspects in just about anything, but gymnastics not only builds beautiful bodies, but beautiful people.
Kim Small, you just saw on the vault, and Kim not happy with her performance. You just saw also Coach Milan Stanovich talking to her in a very calm, reassuring way, and she'll have another opportunity.
Now, Kim really has the pressure on, because during her first vault, she flashed her vault, and then she didn't perform it. She just did like a handspring over. It was a huge error. So the judges will take 5/10 off and judge it from the value of a handspring vault.
Well, she's trying to really regain her composure now. You can see how upset she is.
Well, on the first vault, that vault only starts from an 8-4 with 5/10 off. She only could receive a maximum of a 7-9 on the first vault. So she really needs to do a good vault here in order just to have a score to give her team.
Let's wish her well as she goes down for her second attempt at the vault.
Okay, a handspring front, and I really don't know. That is going to be a judgment call on the part of the judges. Kim did not complete the somersault. Normally, you must hit feet first in order to receive a score.
Well, let's see on the instant replay, we can determine what hits first, her feet or her bottom. And her feet just got in there before, so well, hopefully the judges saw that too.
Hopefully the judges will see that. They don't have the benefit of slow motion, but hopefully the judges saw that and she'll receive a score. You saw she tucked very, very early on. There's Milan talking
What's he talking to her about now?
You know, gymnastics is a process, and most athletes are with their coach for years and years, and I think Milan now is not thinking about this meet and this vault for Kim, but about the future. So he's trying to help her out, keep her up, you know, and let her know these are the mistakes you made, but hey, we'll go home and fix it.
And Milan is a really great guy with his kids. He cares about them a lot, and I think what you pointed out, that he looks at the big picture and he knows there's a life after gymnastics, and he wants to keep the kids positive and help them through these difficult times, such as her vault, so that she can go home and learn from this experience.
On the uneven bars, Kim DeHaan for the All-Americans from Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Okay, Kim mounted with a kip handstand pirouette, then she did a swing, uprising handstand, a beautiful Tkachev, very high, immediate straddle back to handstand. Here's her kip. She's back up on the high bar.
She really swings the bars nice, doesn't she, Christy? Nice and tight.
Beautifully, and that's a giant swing where they swing totally extended into a double twist dismount. That's a layout somersault with 2 full rotations laterally. Very well done. Beautiful routine.
Nice and clean, no error, no room for deduction. That was just
again.
That was out of her Tkachev into her straddle back to handstand. Now she's finishing up her routine. There's her giant swing to the handstand, another giant to the handstand, and a double twist in a layout position for the dismount, and a beautiful landing.
You folks in Nebraska will see her for 4 years, a full ride scholarship to participate for the Cornhuskers. And she's been in gymnastics for 12 of her 18 years.
And I'm sure that they're very happy to have a gymnast like Kim coming their way. All right, Kim. A 9.85.
That's a great score and a really clean routine. And you know, one thing that's nice is that these kids, for all the years they put in the gym, they learn the discipline, the inner discipline, but then also it takes them to college where most of them will receive a full ride in their scholarship and have a chance to get a great education and experience the team competition there for Cleveland.
Now let's go over to the balance beam, and here's Dominique Dawes. Let's watch.
Three layouts in a row, not a bobble. Sign of a true champion.
Here's one of Dominique's new elements, a front somersault. Nailed. That was beautiful. She is rock solid up there.
Notice the whole gym is quiet.
You're not kidding. Everybody's watching, including us.
Well, Dominique used to be known primarily as a tumbler and a vaulter, and she's really had to work on her beam and her bars. And we saw her on the bars, now you see on the beam. I think she's left no stone unturned. Beautiful routine. A full twisting double back dismount. That's the most difficult dismount done in the world today. Anywhere, anytime. Incredible.
And she tumbled right off the beam. Two back handsprings. They weren't stepped out. They were snapped out. I mean, the legs came together just as you would do them on, floor. And we're going to watch that again. 2 foot up. Oh, I'm sorry. This is the pass with the 3 layouts in a row. Not even a bobble. No deduction there.
Here's her dismount sequence. Back handspring, a full twist into a double back. Just a little step on the landing, but what difficulty. If you could start from more than a 10, Dominique would start from an 11, and she scores a 9.95. Near perfection.
So Dominique Dawes showing why she was on the U.S. Olympic team and why she is such a champion. 9.95, and she made it look so easy.
I don't know how. It's incredible. It really is. I mean, if you just stand up on a beam or go to the park next time and stand up on a bench and try to do a turn or something like that.
Christy, we're talking about practice too, aren't we?
It's tough.
Repetition over and over and over again.
Over and over and over again and again.
And again.
And it certainly pays off, doesn't it? She makes it look like a walk in the park, like Jeff said. Here's Keri Monahan on the floor. And Keri is a very exciting performer. And actually, she has been hot on every event so far.
She has.
She mounts with a full twisting double back, the same element we saw Dominique use.
Wow, beautiful.
That is beautiful. And look at that face. You know, she is such a vivacious performer. Her enthusiasm for gymnastics is just infectious.
Keri is 17 from Camden, New Jersey. She's picked some wonderful up-tempo music, and the crowds are getting into it, aren't they?
They sure are.
Here's her second pass.
Beautiful. You can tell the crowd's enjoying it because she's enjoying it.
There's a double turn on one foot and a round off full twisting back handspring into a jump. Now Keri's setting up for her last telling pass. She doesn't look tired at all. Here she goes. Round off, whip, back handspring, double twist. That was a terrific routine.
She says she loves the floor exercise because the fans get into it. They did just that.
They did. She can be really happy about her performance so far tonight. She's hit every routine nice and solid.
That's got to be up there among some of the highest scores tonight, perhaps.
I think she'll probably go 9-8 or 9-9 possibly.
She's had high scores on every event.
And remember, her team's in 3rd place going into this event. And the American Twisters had a bit of trouble on beam.
Here's a look at her last pass, a whip through to a double twist. A little bit low on the landing, but remember, she's doing a series for the last pass instead of the first pass.
And there's her score, 9.875. Terrific. You can't ask for much more.
So we've seen Keri Monahan perform. We'll come back with more. We're not finished yet. Lots more to come along from Haines City, Florida. The 1993 USAIGC National Team Gymnastic Competition. Twisters, they take the lead barely, Jeff.
It is barely. It's 8/10, which is a nice, strong lead to have. But we have to remember last night, believe it or not, Dominique had a little problem with floor with her last pass. It's a new pass, and if she falls on it, it could drop them down, and it could still be anybody's race.
In 3rd place after the 3rd rotation, you just saw Atlantic. And then Jim Strata, K-Ron, Golden Bear, the All-Americans. One never knows when one might get called to come in to participate at the last moment because of an injury last night. And Jeff, you might want to explain this. Jessica Washburn got hurt, chipped a tooth, or?
Well, she did. They were warming up on the bars before the competition, and she happened to miss the bar with her hands, but caught a little bit with her chin, and so she wasn't able to compete last night. So they called up Susie in Pompano Beach, Florida, and Susie drove down with her parents and got here late last night. And now she's here to compete and doing a great job.
And Susie Kincaid is 13 years of age. She'll be the final gymnast to participate to compete tonight. And earlier this evening, Jeff Knepper had a chance to talk with Susie Kincaid.
So, Susie, you're back this year at the National Team Championships, and I don't think it's exactly how you planned, because I understand you weren't supposed to be here. Can you tell me how that happened?
I was training for elite zones in 2 weeks, and my teammate Jessica Washburn, she got hurt last night, and I drove, and I just got here at 3:30 in the morning.
You're kidding. 3:30, how many hours of a drive was it?
About 3.5.
3.5. So you're ready to go for tonight, and you hope, how do you think your team's going to do tonight?
I think we'll do great. Hope it's just like last year.
So that means you're going to win, hopefully, eh?
Yeah.
All right, good luck.
Thank you.
There's a good look at Keri Monahan.
Keri Monahan.
On vault from the Atlantic Coast team from Sewell, New Jersey.
Well, Keri has had an outstanding competition. Now she's finishing up on the vault. And she performs the same vault as Dominique Dawes, a Yurchenko with a full twist in a layout position. She did have a step on the landing, but it looked really good other than that.
It did. You know what's really interesting, and we'll see it here, is watch the distance away from the horse as she pushes off. Watch how much distance she gets. She's way back by the end of that first mat. That's terrific. Dominique, I don't even think got that much distance.
You know, Keri is really performing at a very, very high level. She had a 9.875 on the floor. Beautiful bars. Now here she is on the vault. Second vault, round off, Yurchenko, full twist.
Excellent.
Very good. I think the first vault was better.
I agree.
The second vault was just a little low and a little short. She had landing deductions on both, but that first vault, she was flying. And I think it'll be rewarded. Here we'll see the difference. Here's her round off onto the board, back handspring onto the horse, and you can see she doesn't get quite the push that she did, so she lands just a little bit short and has to hop forward. But I think we can expect a good score. That vault starts at a 10-0 if it's performed perfectly. And Keri receives a 9.85.
Wow.
It's a terrific score, an outstanding all-around for Keri. She had a wonderful meet, and I think her team can be proud of her part no matter how they finish.
Coaches Ken Anderson and Barb Barclay have to be pleased. They coach the Atlantic Coast team. Sybil Stevenson now from K-Ron.
Now this is a bar routine I'm real excited about because you're going to see a lot of men's high bar moves in this routine.
I think this is one of the most exciting bar routines in the meet. Sybil starts with a full pirouette into a ginger, overshoot, and she's not finished there. Those are both D or extra difficult skills, and here's her reverse hecht or takachev, kip to the handstand. Now watch this. Giant up, hop into the handstand, full twist in the downswing, and a straddle back to handstand. She's the only gymnast I have ever seen perform that skill. It was a beautiful routine. Now she's finishing up, preparing for a dismount. Giant hop.
That was a bar routine.
Beautiful routine. You know, last night I spoke to her coach, Milan Stanovich, and he was a little upset because the judges only scored her at a 9.65. It's true, she has the most difficult bar routine in this competition. However, the routine ends with only a double back. There's her full twist in the downswing, straddle back to the handstand. And now we'll watch the end of her routine. If you'll remember, many of the gymnasts were doing twists in their doubles. Sybil just does a giant into a plain double tuck, nice form, sticks the landing, but because the rest of her routine is so difficult, perhaps the judges will be a little bit hard on her, saying, hey, the dismount wasn't up to the level of the rest of the routine. She had a 9.65 last night.
And there's a score, 9.825.
9.825. I think the judges changed their mind.
Did they? Well, absolutely.
Maybe?
From last night, they
From
sure
last
did.
night?
I know that Milan did protest the score last night. So
He did?
Yeah, he did.
He did. He was still fighting when we left the gym. and with good reason. That was an excellent routine and an excellent score. I'm happy to see that for Sybil.
Sarah Nitz now. And she'll have to start all over. No?
Well,
Picks it up right from there.
Sarah will pick it up from the mount. She started with a round off layout, step out on. It's so difficult to fall on the first element and know, even if you hit, that you're already behind. The best she could score now is a 9.5. Everything else is perfect.
And of course a little wavering there on the beam. Yeah, there's not much, nowhere to go to start off in trouble.
Well, I think it's a real test of the athlete. We'll see how Sarah comes back. She fell on her very first element, and she has many, many elements ahead of her. We'll see how she handles it. So far, so good.
That's going to be tough when you fall right in the beginning to recompose, set yourself.
You know, but it's over. She's already lost 5/10. And remember, this is a team competition.
Correct.
So she wants to do the best she can for her team so that they can finish as high as possible.
This unit came all the way from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. They, All-Americans, and also the Golden Bear team from Berkeley, California, traveled the farthest distance to get here. They've had a wonderful week at the Greenleaf Resort in Haines City, Florida. Been here for one whole week.
Here's Sarah setting up for her dismount. She does a round off. That she just did a full twist off it. Did you see? Remember, we saw a gymnast earlier hit just the edge of the beam, Lauren LeBranch, and dismount to the side. Sarah had the same problem. If you'll watch, she barely gets a hold of the beam with her feet. She's off to the side.
Oh boy, yeah.
And she can only do a full twist, and this is a really dangerous landing. One foot on the floor, 1 foot on the mat. That was potentially very dangerous, and luckily she handled it.
But I think she's to be complimented. Look at the reaction. It's, well, you know, it's going to happen sometimes.
And she's probably happy that she just got off and was able to stand it up, because, you know, at that point, once she feels it right away, she feels her feet are off, and at that point she can't stop. She has to continue through with the element. And in this case, she took a double full and turned it into a full, but she handled it real well.
These young ladies work long and hard hours to get to this point. Each one of them wonderfully talented. 9.05. Now the floor exercises.
And we're in for a real treat on this
Dominique Dawes performs from Hills Angels in Gaithersburg, Maryland.
And I think this will definitely be one of the highlights of the meet. Dominique is known for her incredible tumbling ability and her expressive floor routine. The crowd really gets in behind her.
Interesting to see her selection of music as she is poised and ready.
Full in pike.
Beautiful full in pike.
this is kind of her trademark pass. Watch this.
This will blow this crowd away. Here she goes, whip through to a double twist punch front, and she just keeps going into a double back somersault.
Oh my goodness.
Unbelievable. Most gymnasts perform 3 tumbling passes. Not Dominique. She does 4. I love her dance over here in the corner. I think it's a real compliment to her choreographer, Muriel Roosevelt, the way this crowd reacts to this floor routine. Now she's setting up for her final pass. Last night she did a 2.5 twist punch front and landed short. We'll see what she does tonight. There's a 2.5.
Just to a stick.
And she sticks it. That's a very difficult pass by itself.
Are we looking at another
Beautiful
perfect
routine.
10?
I think so. I think we're going to be near the 10-0 mark.
And her teammates, Marianne Esposito, Wendy Wheaton, Michelle Pearson, all go over to congratulate Dominique Dawes. Boy, what a performance.
Isn't that something?
Wow.
Now here's a look at that second
lose
pass.
your breath.
Watch this.
It does, Jeff.
A whip back, back handspring into a double twist, punch front, not done yet, round off, back handspring, double back somersault. It makes me tired just to watch her.
I got to tell you something. You're looking at some tremendous athletes and gymnasts, but in your own area, those of you watching tonight's show, you may have somebody in your family or somebody you know that say, hey, we can do that. Contact your local club.
Right. You can contact your local club, or you also, if that finds you no success, you can call the USAIGC National Office, which is in Wilmington, Delaware, and it's the number, as a matter of fact, is 302-656-3706.
And remember, gymnastics really has something for everyone, from preschool all the way down. And there's a world-class routine at 10-0, another 10 for Dominique Dawes.
2 10s, not too bad, huh?
Not too shabby. 2 tonight from Dominique Dawes.
I don't think Dominique had any problem coming off the Olympics and the World Championships getting psyched up for this meet. What do you guys think?
I don't think she did either.
To me, I just think it talks about her championship style. There's no meet too small, no meet too big. She attacks everything the same.
I think Dominique and her coaches need to be really complimented on the work they've done with her and how far she's come.
I hope.
They call her Awesome Dawson, huh? Dominique Dawes. They came to see and they've enjoyed every single moment of her competing tonight. We'll be back with more of the National Team Gymnastics Championships from Haines City, Florida in just a moment after we take time out for these messages. We have seen some great performances tonight, especially by Dominique Dawes, who has picked up the only perfect 10s in tonight's competition. But this is team, keep in mind, not individual.
It is team, and the Arizona Twisters just posted a 9.9 for gymnast number 897, so not too far off.
That's their second gymnast up. They still have 2 more.
The American Twisters for their first gymnast up. Kelly Davis, a 9.9.
Wow. Well, if they keep going 9.9s all the way out, they could really move up on hills, even with Dominique's 10. So over on the vault, we're watching the New England Gymnastics Express.
Amy Murakami. Amy just did her first vault. It was a handspring front. Very well done. Nice distance, nice height, clean form. I think they're looking to maximize that vault now. Remember that the judges take the best of both vaults.
And here is Amy's second on the way.
Whoa!
That's a nice vault. I don't know. They were both good. We'll see what she comes up with, but that's a nice, solid score for New England Gymnastics Express.
She really knows where she is. She really knows where she is on that vault and knows right when the floor is going to hit, which is so tough.
Here you see her going on. She has a nice push. She leaves the horse, then tucks, and then what a landing. Handspring front, kicks out, and nailed.
Coaches Maureen Bagnon and Blaine Jefferson have to be proud of their young ladies tonight.
Well, they certainly do, because that vault starts from perfect. A perfect score would be a 9.9. Amy scored a 9.8.
It's about as good as you can get.
Can't get much better than that.
Nope.
Excellent.
Alex Alderman and the Golden Bears team in Berkeley, California. This is the final round of competition, team competition tonight.
Okay, Alex starts with a clear hip, right into a reverse hecht or a Tkachev. She was just a little slow going for the regress. Unfortunately, she missed the bar. That'll cost her 5/10 off her score. And she's ready to finish up. She has a kip, and she has to swing half turn. Now, you notice how she climbed up and then had to go back down to the low bar. That's because bar changes are required, as well as direction changes. Now she's finishing with giant, toe front with a half twist. A big step on the landing, and unfortunately, some form breaks during those giant swings.
Alex Alderman.
Here we're going to take a look at the reverse hecht in the beginning that she missed. And you'll notice, I think what happened on this is that as she releases the bar, she needs to actually stop the rotation, have her chest going forward, but her chest was still back and her feet were behind her, and so she had all her velocity going straight down. And unless she was the Hulk, I don't think she could hold on to that bar.
Just a little bit too slow, but a good effort. I think that, you know, she's shrugging it off okay. That's what's great about these competitions. The gymnasts, the coaches try to be so positive with the gymnasts, and you know, they all realize that it's a process, and sometimes you make mistakes. Even the best make mistakes.
Christy, is that one of the biggest challenges as a coach, as you are, is to keep that confidence level up there? Everybody has a lot of talent to do these various events, but I mean, if a young lady doesn't have that desire, that strength, that inner feeling, it can be tough.
I think the easiest thing for me is if I remember that this is somebody's child, and if you saw them during the warm-up or after, and you'll see them after the competition, you know, kind of running around the hotel with their friends, and you forget that these are world-class athletes, that these are kids who work 6 hours a day. They're just kids, you know, and sometimes they make mistakes. And the whole point, I like the philosophy of Tim and Tony Rand on their bio sheet. It says, you know, how they believe in coaching the kid and making gymnastics a positive experience.
And we have seen that. We have seen the sensitivity expressed tonight by every one of these coaches working with these young ladies.
Yeah, I think that the coaches have done a magnificent job. Here we have little Alex Brion on the balance beam. She wowed us on the floor exercise. And you talk about coaches who must be doing something right. Alex just performed a back handspring, layout, step out, layout, step out.
And really nicely, too. Especially for 10 years old, once again.
Absolutely adorable, isn't she, Jeff?
Yeah. She's something. She fought for it, though. She tried hard.
See, if she just would have had a little more beam there, she could have kept running and maybe saved it.
Maybe we'll talk to the judges about that afterwards.
I think she definitely should get points for cuteness. That was her punch front. Now she's setting up for the dismount. Now we heard the bell. That means she has 5 seconds to dismount. There's back handspring, double pike. A very difficult dismount and a terrific finish for that kid. Good job. I think she has time to work out the wrinkles.
10 years of age.
Here's
Alexis Brion.
Here's her series early in the routine where she did the back handspring, layout. That's the same series that we've seen many of the older girls do, and she handled it beautifully. Now here's where she gets into a little trouble. She's going for a front. She does the front and looks like she's straight over, but then she just doesn't react. She runs out of beam and jumps off the side.
But then quickly climbs right back up again.
And you know, she finished with a really tough dismount. Back handspring, double pike. That's a 9-1 for her score.
With the fall, it would have been a 9-6.
Could have been a 9-6.
Remember, the American Twisters are the defending champions. We'll see momentarily if they can repeat or if someone else walks away with the team championship. Susie Kincaid representing the American Twisters.
And remember, the American Twisters have had a dynamite floor exercise event. They've had, I believe, 2 9-9s, and we'll see.
They're really a solid team on the floor.
Right.
And if the other gymnasts are any indication of what we can expect from Susie, I think we're looking for a real strong finish from American Twisters.
Whoa.
Wow, what a dance
great.
series.
Double full into the split. Never seen that before.
Here's her first pass. 2 whips into a double back and nailed. Now, I like this kid's style.
We saw her last year at this meet when she was 12, and now she's 13, and you can already in 1 year see the growth and maturity.
Here's her second tumbling pass. Round off, back handspring, double pike. Nice landing. You know, regardless of how the Twisters finish, I think that they should be very proud of not only the entire team's effort, but especially Susie Kincaid for arriving at 3:30 this morning and competing like such a champ.
12 top teams, over 1,000 gymnastic clubs nationwide began the competition. Now we're down to the final 32 gymnasts and the final 18.
Here's her last tumbling pass. Round off, back handspring, double tuck somersault. That was just a tremendous job by Susie Kincaid.
It sure was. I didn't see really any deductions on that.
It was beautiful, and that first dance sequence was just incredible. You know, her dance elements are worth as much to the judges as the tumbling elements are.
Well, Christy and Jeff, what do you think? Let's go back and take a look one more time at the final sequence.
Here's the beginning of her floor routine, where she does a full twist with a straddle, immediate jump, double twist, split.
That's amazing. When to know when to pop out and go into your split. Who knows?
Here's the end. Here's the finish.
Her last tumbling pass, a round up back handspring, double tuck, no problem. The fatigue definitely not showing for Susie Kincaid. That's a great routine, and another 9-9 for the Air
Really? Another 9-9?
For the American Twisters.
They are so solid. What a strong team.
9-9.
And they're without their top kid.
I think that they have to look and see. I believe that the American Twisters won the floor exercise event.
Well, they needed that. They needed that 9-9 because they were trailing the Hills Angels as they began the final round of competition. Well, who's going to win it? We'll find out in just a moment. We'll come back and have the final results after we take time for these messages. Don't go away. Two campgrounds are favored destinations of outdoor enthusiasts. Many of the It has been a wonderful week in Haines City. Let's take a look at the final results. In Christie, we've got a new national champion. They won it a couple of years ago. Hills Angels displacing American Twisters, winning the team competition.
Well, no doubt about it. Hills Angels did a wonderful job. Not only Dominique Dawes, who we saw score 2 10s, but her teammates as well, particularly Marianne Esposito, who also scored a 9-9 on the vault. You have to compliment the American Twisters. However, they were 8 tenths behind coming out of beam. They've gained 4 tenths on the floor exercise, with all 4 of their gymnasts scoring above a 9.8, within 2 tenths of perfection. They had 2 scores of a 9-9. It was a terrific fight, a terrific competition, and one I'm looking forward to seeing again next year.
There you saw New England Express came in 4th, followed by Gymstrata. Kron was 5th, and Gymstrata, the Golden Bear team from Berkeley, California, and the All-American team. There you look at one of the finest of all the athletes here this week, and that in the middle is Dominique Dawes, I believe, of Hills Angels. Yes, and she had the only perfect 10s, not 1 but 2 tonight, and we saw some wonderful, wonderful gymnasts in action.
Wonderful gymnastics. Dominique, of course, is one of the best gymnasts in the world and recognized as such, but lots of up-and-comers. We saw little Alexis Brion and Katie McFarland, just 10 years old, from Gymstrata, doing a lot of big gymnastics, and I think the gymnastics in the U.S., the future looks really good.
To put on the USAIGC National Gymnastic Championship takes the work of a lot of people, especially that lady right there. That's Pat Nepper Ed's wife, and soon to celebrate their 40th anniversary. She's been our contact to put this television production together, and as well as all the wonderful volunteers who gave so much of their time to be a major factor in the success of this week-long event at the Greenleaf Resort and Conference Center. We'll come back and talk to some of the folks who you saw tonight in just a moment after these important messages. Back there you see some of the award ceremonies taking place with the awarding of the medals to the team that wins the National Gymnastic Team Championship competition, Hills Angels from Gaithersburg, Maryland. Let's go to Jeff Knepper standing by, and he's got some members of that group with him right now. Jeff?
Thanks, Johnny, and here I am with the new 1993 National Gymnastic Team Champions. So real quickly, how does it feel to be a national team champion?
Feels great. It feels like all our work is paid off.
That's good. That's good to hear. And how about Dominique? What did you feel about the competition tonight?
I thought the competition was here was pretty good, and I'm really glad that our team came in first because that was our #1 goal coming in here.
That's great. And you guys, did you know that going to the third event, you were 8/10 ahead of second place?
No, we really didn't know until the end that we were ahead.
So what's the philosophy then when you go into the meet? Do you go in to win? Or what is it?
Just to try your best and hit your sets and hope for the best.
Well, I think you've got the magic secret for success because you guys did a terrific job. And by the way, the score that you had meant that your average score for each gymnast was a 9.8. So congratulations. And here they are, ladies and gentlemen, the 1993 USAIGC National Team Champions.